Today I'm going to talk to you about bezels. This is the little guy that inserts in the headlights. What's up? Welcome back to Vlogmas. This is day 5, like I said yesterday, when I just finished getting this whole thing stripped. So if you look, where's that actual light? There it is. Nope, that ain't it. There it is. That's the WRX lights that we were working on yesterday, and today I'm going to talk to you about bezels. This is the little guy that inserts in the headlights, and why it's probably in your best interest, if you're a builder, to keep some of these things on hand. So I'm going to go through a bunch of them that I have here on the bench. I'll explain maybe some good tips for you that you can use coming up here on Vlogmas. On the shelf right there, I've got a set of highly modified Hyundai Genesis Coupe taillights. They're fully sequential. They're what I actually filmed a lot of the Sequential 301 class. So if you don't know, I actually have some crazy classes that teach you how to do all this stuff available. And I haven't even launched 301 yet. I have people that are buying it. I got a guy last night that bought it. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. I'm gonna put all the recent guys that have joined my online classes up below in the description, because you guys are funding me able to keep making the YouTube content for free for everyone else. So big shout out to all my Lightsman Academy members, as well as people paying for the online classes. So this is some advice that I'm going to be giving those guys too. If you want to build some of those custom Sequential Genesis Coupe taillights, best thing that you can do, find some broken or scratched lights so you can steal the internals out of them. Cut open that light, not worry about if anything gets damaged on the lens, because all you need is this guy. This is the factory part. Unfortunately, you can't put it into the dip like we do so many other cool parts. They have to be painted, and this is a part that has been painted. So these I have a full set, and I have multiple sets, lots of Corvette parts, lots of Genesis Coupe parts, even GTR parts that are now gonna be blown out and available on FlyRyde Garage Sale, which is our Instagram account specifically to sell our old used parts to get into your hands so that you can build things ahead of time, have something like this, maybe even fully sequential, sitting there on your shelf, ready, waiting for the guy that's gonna come drop 1,500 bucks, and all you have to do is slice open his taillights and drop in that pre-made part that you had done ahead of time. That means he gets to have something that would take a super long time to do, but he doesn't have to wait a long time, which means you get his money quicker, everybody's stoked about it, and literally all it cost you was whatever it was worth to buy a set of some old busted up lights that you could use the internals from. Now this was a set of lights I used to do all the time. This was the C6 Corvette headlights. And what would happen is the lenses would get all messed up, and the guys that had really nice Corvettes, you know, a few years back before the C7s came out, they didn't really have any choice but to either buy brand new lights, which were super expensive, or they could get a set of new lenses. And that was really rare that the Corvette guys could buy brand new lenses. And because they were able to do that, and some weird specialist in California had to tear their lights in half and swap out the lenses for new ones, this guy, a lot of times they would want to change up things like the bezels inside. So because those cars come with paint matched internal parts like this one, this crazy cyber orange, whatever color this is, this was the factory part on a very high-end Corvette a while back. And the way that these guys would do it is they would want to change that to carbon fiber or to black or something special, something different than came with the car, and we would add angel eyes and do all of that stuff. And so it was always in my best interest to get a set of lights like this and have them pre-done. I'd take these little metal rings. These parts inside, those are actually made out of a really hard metal. So this is not an easy set to work on. So it would be dope if I already had angel eyes or something mounted to these, ready to go. And then if the customer shipped in his lights and I was doing a new lens install for him, then I could just pop those rings with the angel eyes already on them into place. And because I had those parts ahead of time, I wasn't just stuck waiting forever. Now, that is best case scenario, and it very rarely happened to where I was actually fast. I'm a slow builder. I don't know. That's me. Don't be me. Just use my wisdom to be better than me. That's what I want for you. One really cool thing that you can do if you have spare parts is you can get things that you know are universal that a lot of people are gonna like. So K2 Concepts absolutely crushed this matte carbon fiber finish. This is for our friend Corey, but if I had a set of these lights that were just here for rotation, like let's say I did a lot of Hyundai Velosters like these, and instead of making a customer wait to get things done, I already had a set of these carbon fiber dipped parts looking amazing, and all the customer had to do was ship me their lights, and I could swap out their internals for parts like these, and then send those new parts over to Jim and he could dip them, and we just have a constant rotation of parts that are getting dipped or painted or whatever. Like, that's a win. This one was dipped. That's got the black underneath that used to be chrome, on a few of these parts, and now everything is just looking super, super good. This is an easy way that you can take your spare time, I don't know, sell a custom headlight job, make $100, buy some spare parts. Now you've got that stuff on hand. I mean, this is kind of like my advice in the 5 months to 5 figures course, where like if you're doing one kind of car over and over and over again, you're gonna get super good at it. You're gonna wanna have spare parts. I know NTX Glow, a guy that does Genesis coupe lights, like the ones I showed you earlier, guy's amazing. I hit him up and I was like, hey, do you need any spare parts? But you probably don't, do you? Because you probably have a bunch. He's like, I have a garage full of all of those parts. If you haven't seen NTX Glow, check him out on Instagram. His stuff is amazing. He's the only guy I've ever seen pull off the sequential taillights other than myself, and he's crushing it. So that guy, if you look at his work, he's focusing on one car, that Genesis coupe, and he's dominating, doing way cooler stuff than I ever did when that was my focus. This is actually a set of GTR lights. Now don't freak out. I know every time I post a video about GTR things, people are like, I don't wanna watch because it's not a car that I can have. But whatever, I got other stuff that's not GTR here. So I just wanna give you the example. I have multiple sets of these things. These are not the brand new GTR taillight parts. These are off of an 09 to 14 style GTR. Actually, because this part's darker, that actually means that I think it's a 2012 through 14. Because I'm a GTR nerd and I know these things. This is what I turned those parts into. They're painted black inside, and now instead of being super shiny and bright red, they look like they're tinted because the inside, this part, has been blacked out. Here's the tip. I don't want my customer to have to wait for me to tear open their factory taillights, send this part off to the painter, and then get that part back, then reassemble and do all of that, because then I'm gonna have their lights for a long time, which is, a lot of people watching this might know, sometimes I have people's lights for a really long time, and I don't want that. I want it to be quick, snappy. So if I'm gonna give advice that I wish somebody had told me when I was starting off, it would be, get a few sets of the lights that you do a lot of, the ones that you do all the time, have these things ready, and so that if a customer pays you for a job, like the WRX one that we got the other day, you can just send the parts that you already have on hand straight off to paint, or start modifying them immediately before they ever maybe send you their headlights in, or before the customer shows up to your shop or to your house, or however you're gonna work it out. You wanna have that thing that they're gonna get already modified and done. I've never found a good reason to show you this, but I need to. This was actually a part that was originally stripped using the dip like we did, and then sent off to paint, and it had a weird chemical reaction, and the paint did not like the fact that, I guess, it had been stripped down to completely raw plastic. And so like you can see a little bit of remnants of where there's like, it's like a weird texture on the plastic itself. And this is a great example of like, good thing I have lots of these bezels, because if that had happened to one of my customer parts, then I would have probably been pretty screwed, because it would have cost me a whole new set of lights to replace just that one. So there is a little bit of safety involved in, if you're gonna do a lot of the same type of light over and over again, having some extras, because maybe something breaks. I've dropped one of these Genesis coupe parts before. I had it all ready, and by I dropped it, I actually mean that my father-in-law was in my old workshop when I was at home and like tripped over something and knocked over a finished set of custom lights that I had just about ready to install, and this whole inner corner piece just snapped off, and I was devastated because they were ready, they were good to go. But luckily I had extras, or maybe that's why I have extras now. I don't know. That was like 3 years ago. Idea here is that it can at least save you a little bit, because you know you're gonna get more of them if the customer sends in their light. So if anything's gonna get messed up, it might as well be on a spare. This one, I don't even know if we'll ever be able to use it. I kind of don't care. You can't see most of the plastic that would get messed up, but I probably have 6 sets of these things anyway, so it doesn't matter. But just let that be a warning. This stuff isn't magic. Sometimes you strip apart, you go to paint it, weird stuff happens. I can't tell you the future and how that's going to look for you, so don't think that I know everything. I sure don't. There's a bucket of weird fluid over there that for some reason eats aluminum off of parts, but other things might happen next, and I don't know about that stuff, so be warned, my friends. So that's it. That's my advice for you guys. I'm building a set of some really cool stage 3 GTR headlights. Thousands of dollars for the cost, the parts, the sequential modules, all that cool stuff. I get to build them ahead of time so that when my customer rolls up and I'm gonna do the install on his car, the lights will already be done and ready. I'll get to tear open his lights, swap in these cool bad boy pieces right here, and we'll be in business, and it's not gonna be like starting from scratch. It's only because I believe and I practice what I'm preaching right now. Go get yourself some bezels if you're building lights for people, just to make life easier. And we'll talk more tips and tricks tomorrow on Vlogmas Day 6. I'll see you then.